Well, hi there. Hi. And welcome to day one, part one of our mini class on how to figure out what you really want. Uh, I'm actually using a new gadget, a new gizmo on Zoom to record this, so bear with me. Hopefully, there won't be any technical difficulties. But anyway, this is day one of our mini class on how to figure out what you really want. So if you were working with me as a coaching client, whether as an individual or in a group, we spend a lot of time digging into this because it is so fundamental. It is foundational. And taking the time up front with this means that everything else will be so much easier. And that's especially true if you're thinking about or in the process of finding your own voice or speaking more consistently in your own voice or taking charge of your story, then you really you've got to do this. So Barbara Sher, I don't know if y'all know who she is, but she wrote this absolutely marvelous book titled I Could Do Anything If I Only Knew what it was. And a lot of us can relate to that feeling. So just how do you figure out what you really want? I'm going to tell you right now, the secret is not having a list. Now, lists can help, and we're going to talk about how to use them. In fact, you might already have a life list or a to-do list for today or something like that, and you're still wondering, what is it? What do I really want? And think about it this way. If having a list were enough, we'd already you or we'd all have what we already want. We wouldn't be wondering. So, and the thing is, even if you don't have that list, you probably have a pretty good idea about what you don't want. You might even have a list for that. But the list of what you don't want, that one's a two-edged sword, because if you don't know how to use it, it can be lethal. It can actually kill your chances of ever getting what you really want. Here's why. If you keep thinking about what you don't want, if you keep dwelling on that or kind of digging into it and examining it, you're going to keep getting more of that thing you don't want, because that's really what you're tuned into and it's what you're paying attention to. And it's easy to not realize how much we're dwelling on what we don't want, because you know what? Our mind loves to go there automatically, just automatically. So let's play pretend. Let's imagine together for just a minute, if you will. Let's have some fun with this. So think of your mind like a genie in a lamp, and all your thoughts, they're like those wishes you're telling the genie. You've rubbed the lamp, the genie's come out, and your thoughts, the things you're thinking to yourself and saying to yourself, that's what you're telling your genie your wishes are. Okay? And we've all seen or read about stories where, the wisher accidentally miscommunicates their wishes. And one of the classic examples is the person who wishes to have $1,000,000 only to discover they can't actually spend it because they wish to have it. So yeah, that's kind of a goofy little example, but the evidence is rock solid that our thoughts create our reality. So, pay attention at that level. And I know that being clear within ourselves makes all the difference. And you know it too. We just try to fight that. So the key is understanding what we really want and then speaking about it very clearly and consistently to ourselves and with others. Because whatever you're dwelling on, whether it's something you want or something you don't want, your subconscious is always scrambling around to make that happen for you, just like that imaginary genie in the lamp. And your subconscious is saying to itself, ooh, look at me. Look at how helpful I'm being. Look at me granting all her wishes. Only, it's really not so helpful. However, knowing what you don't want can be a great tool, because you can take this understanding of what you don't want and you can flip it around. And by finding the opposites, you can begin getting a much better idea of what you do want. and begin turning those thoughts about what you don't want into better statements, and then you can focus on them. You can have better self-talk. You can have better talk in general. However, it's really important to guard against creating opposite statements. They're actually compounding the negative. Okay. Now that if that sounds complicated or confusing or even just woo-woo, just hang on for a minute. So let's take some really, really generic examples. Some you've probably heard before. And keep in mind, these are just examples. So don't try to apply them exactly to yourself or your situation, because that just leads to arguing over why this example doesn't apply to you. And that doesn't solve anything. What we're trying to do is open our minds to new possibilities rather than digging our ruts and trenches deeper into our already existing unhelpful self-talk. So let's just agree to use some of these generic examples as just examples. Is that a deal? Okay. So here's some unhelpful statements with some not so helpful turnarounds. Okay. I want to lose 10 pounds because I don't want to feel overweight and ugly. I might have said that one myself. Or I want to move because I am tired of this place, and I'm tired of the people I've lived with. Or it could be both. Or I want to change jobs because I am tired of feeling unappreciated. And the classic, one of the classics is, I want to make more money because I'm tired of feeling broke. Folks, almost all human wishes fall into really 3 buckets: relationships, health, and wealth. So yes, these are very generic examples that fall into those 3 buckets, and pretty much anything you can think of, you can come up with that you want, they fall somewhere in the broad spectrum of those 3 buckets. But I want you to notice that the turnarounds in these examples, they're just as negative as the original statement. In fact, what they have in common, these turnarounds, is that they're all double negatives. And more importantly, they're focused on moving away from something instead of towards something. And what you really want is turnaround statements that move you towards something, because you want to be moving towards figuring out what you really want. And so think of these statements as a way to start trying things on for size and start feeling what that thing you want to move towards feels like. So here's some possibilities for better turnarounds coming from these same statements. Okay, my target weight is, fill in the blank, because I want to feel healthy, and feeling healthy feels attractive. Okay, same statement said differently, but now my mind's scrambling to help me feel and be healthier and feel more attractive. All right, let's look at the other ones. I want to move because living in a place that offers more of what I like to do feels nurturing. That feels like self-care. It feels like self-love. Okay. I want to change jobs because I'm ready for something that's challenging and fulfilling, and that where I feel appreciated for my contribution. Okay. And money. I want to make more money because what I'm capable of doing is valuable to the right people or the right company. Now, can you hear the difference between those first statements and their negative turnarounds, and these statements and their more helpful turnarounds that are leading you toward something? Now, remember that these are generics, but this principle can be applied across the board. So pay attention to what we did differently here, and then apply the principle to your own thoughts, to your own goals and desires and wishes. In fact, if you're thinking about losing weight, think about this, what you're telling yourself about that. Or if you're thinking about moving, think about what you're telling yourself about that. Okay, pay attention so that you can start creating more helpful, more positive statements. Because here's the thing, okay? Listen up, pay attention. Our minds, oh boy, our minds will keep digging deeper and deeper into whatever we're thinking about, into whatever we're telling ourselves, and into whatever we're saying to others. So if you're constantly arguing with someone else, they'll say, well, have you tried this, or think about that? And you immediately say, well, yes, that would be perfect, but it won't work for me because. If you catch yourself saying things like that, that's self-sabotage. So if we're dwelling on our terrible circumstances or the terrible people who are holding us back, or why this thing won't work for us, even if it works for pretty much everyone else, that's your mind just trying to give you what it thinks you're saying. You know, our mind loves to dig into this. It loves to dig deeper. So if we dwell on these terrible things, our mind's going to gather evidence to confirm it. And all we're doing is digging deeper, you know, because think of this. If our mind, let's go back to the genie in the lamp. If our mind is really like the genie in the lamp, all it has to go by is our words, our thoughts, our speech. So it's going to literally, okay, here's another fun visual for you. It will literally dig itself into a rut, like a puppy digging for, I mean, who knows what a puppy's digging for, but it's going to bring you whatever it finds at the bottom of that hole, whether you want it or not, because it is so sure that you want it to dig because it's a puppy. And it's going to be so very proud of itself. And just like that puppy, our minds need training. Your mind needs help. It needs puppy training. But we have to consciously and deliberately do things to help our mind stop digging and climb out of its rut. Because guess what? Your mind really does love digging in that rut, and it relies on us, you, your conscious self, to help it. You know, a puppy will never learn on its own how to behave, and neither will your mind. So I'm going to show you 3 really simple things to do. We're going to break them down over 5 video sessions. And the goal overall is to help you become more clear and less vague, and to begin getting out of your own rut and then moving towards what you want. I mean, and you don't have to know everything before getting started. Baby steps are wonderful. Think about it this way. You take that first baby step and your vantage point changes. And all of a sudden you can see another step that you couldn't see before, even though all you did was take one tiny step. Okay, there is one caveat. I said I'm going to show you 3 simple things. Now keep in mind, oh, this is a biggie. Keep in mind that simple doesn't necessarily mean easy. So don't confuse the two. Easy means there is little or no effort required, okay? Simple means it's not complicated, but there may be great effort. In fact, simple typically requires discipline, and that's often not easy at all. So to get ourselves started, to get ourselves ready to consider a new approach, a new perspective with less rejection and less resistance, which are normal, but not at all helpful. We're actually going to begin with our mantra, and we're going to customize it for this particular application. The basic mantra is, I need help, show me the way, I surrender, thank you. And so we're going to customize it like this for what we're doing today. I need help figuring out what I really want. Show me the way to understand what I really want and to refrain from getting caught up in what I don't want. I surrender to a new approach. I accept that I need a new approach. I commit to doing the exercises over these 5 videos to the very best of my ability without making excuses. I accept that I need a fresh perspective, and I am ready and willing to change my old approach. Now, all of that comes under the heading of I surrender. And then we always end with thank you. Thank you. Ready? Because that's leading into the one exercise we're going to do today. Okay? I actually have an example for you. I love Venn diagrams. You know what a Venn diagram is? If you don't, if you work with me, you'll end up finding them out. You're about to see one. So Venn diagrams help me find the sweet spot for so many things. They're a graphic and visual way to help me untangle my thinking. And if you work with me, it's something that we'll use from time to time. So today, we're going to use it as a first step in finding what we want. And my main instruction for this exercise is to have some fun with it. Do not overthink it. In fact, this is actually one to do quickly with the first thing that comes into your mind. Okay? Don't overthink it. Do it quickly. Pop in the first thing that comes into your mind. Are you ready? Okay. So I'm going to show you my Venn diagram. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it in the recording, so I'll take a picture of it and post it with the video. All right. So this Venn diagram, I can't tell how well you can see it. Don't worry, I'll post it with the video. Anyway, it has three circles. All right. Let me try this and see if this will work. It has three circles, and in the first circle, this one here, you're going to brain dump all the things you love. And this is anything at all, no holds barred. I mean, it could be cooking. I'm thinking of some things I like. It'd be cooking. It could be eating out. Maybe you don't like to cook. It could be gardening. It could be taking walks. It could be taking naps. Actually, I like both of those. But it doesn't matter at all what it is. Okay? This is just things you love. Doesn't matter. It's just things you love and enjoy, regardless of the category, regardless if we're talking work or pleasure, personal or relationship or health. It doesn't matter. These are just things you love under any circumstances, whatever. Okay? That one should be a lot of fun because we all love a lot of things, right? And if you don't, spend some time here. Okay? Okay, so the second one, this one is where you're going to write down all the things that you're good at. Now, this one's a little bit harder for a lot of people, and I can't tell you how many clients start out by saying, well, I'm not good at anything. Well, yes, you are. You know what? You're good at breathing, or you wouldn't be alive. Now, if you're that person who's prone to argue, and you want to respond to that by saying, well, I have breathing problems. Okay, well, maybe you do, but I want you to notice you're still breathing well enough to be alive and to be here. So give yourself some credit. And notice, this just says, what am I good at? It doesn't say, what are you perfect at? It doesn't say, what are you the best at? And listen up, it doesn't say, what are you good at without using any tools? So what if you said, I'm a good cook? Okay. You probably use some tools and you probably get some assistance from recipes. You're still a good cook, aren't you? So anything you're thinking for this category, for this part of your circle, for this question, anything you're thinking that's like, well, that's easy. Anyone can do it, and you're being dismissive. Well, that's something you're good at, because not everybody thinks it's easy. Now, you can always ask people who care about you, well, what do you think I'm good at? And you know what? That one was always hard for me. I felt like I was fishing for a compliment or something, and my cute little ego would just get all in the way, and just, oh, it didn't want to do that. And then one of my coaches said, you need to do it. And yeah, I was really, really nervous about it. And I did it anyway. And I was stunned. I was stunned at what other people saw in me that I dismissed in myself. So if you're brave enough, do that too. Okay, So this third circle, here is where you're going to write the things that you are willing to do. Because here's the thing. It doesn't really matter if you love to do it. It doesn't even matter if you're really good at doing it. If you're not willing to do it, it's not going to happen. You can love it to pieces. You can meditate on it. But if you're not willing to do it, it's not going to happen. So I'll tell another story on myself, okay? I don't mind making fun of myself. I hope y'all don't mind. But anyway, I love playing the piano. I'm actually pretty good at it, but I was never willing to engage in the level of practice that would be necessary for a career in music. Now, I still have a piano, and I play from time to time, but that's for pure pleasure. I was never willing to do what it would take to go further with it, and I made my peace with that. It's something I do for fun. I didn't have any desire to do it as a career. And so when it came to willingness, my willingness was, I'm willing to play for fun. I'm not willing to practice enough to make some kind of career out of it. Okay? Does that make sense? So I want you to I want you to do two things. First of all, just write down the first thing that comes into mind in all of your circles, but also take your time with it. Have fun with it. I mean, it's not like you're going to get graded, right? And then what you're going to do, I want you to notice, let's see, when you do the Venn diagram, you've got your three big circles, and then you've got these smaller sections that are at the intersection of the circles. So this one is the intersection between what I love and what I'm good at. This one is the intersection between what I'm good at and what I'm willing to do. This one is the intersection between what I love and what I'm willing to do. And this one, y'all see my pretty heart? This one is the section for what meets all three, because that is helping lead you towards what you really want. Now we'll get deeper into this. And our next session, oh, that turned out to be heavier than I thought. In our next session, we'll look at the first of 4 questions that are going to lead us through an inner inquiry process. Now don't panic. Each of them is really simple, but they will ask you to go outside your comfort zone. Okay? Because I want you to remember, leave you with this thought today, and then I want you to go draw your Venn diagram. I cheated. I used the coffee can to make my circles. Oh, and I do make it pretty. I have all kinds of colored pens, but I've done that with pencil. I've done it with plain ink pen. It doesn't matter. Whatever makes you happy. But let me back up a second. In our next session, we're going to look at the first of 4 questions, and then they're going to lead us through an inner inquiry process. Okay? The answers you're looking for are actually inside you already. They're not out there somewhere. They're inside you, but they're kind of hiding behind some other things. So our job is going to be to draw them out so that you can see them clearly. Each of these questions is simple. And yes, they will ask you to go outside your comfort zone. And here is the main thought I want to leave you with today. Okay, you ready? Everything you want and don't already have, it actually already exists for you. It's just outside your comfort zone. Are you willing to go there? Okay, bye for now, and I will see you next time in our next in session 2 with our first of the 4 questions. Bye-bye.